Good morning and welcome to Hermetic Temple Radio. And welcome to Hermetic Temple Radio on this, the first day of spring. Happy vernal equinox. This is a beautiful time of year. And just looking at our weather forecast for the day, I think here in Wheatland, Missouri, we are scheduled to get up to 83 degrees for a high. So it's going to be a nice day. I mean, more like summer than actually spring. But, I mean, this is the time of year in which we see the flowers beginning to bloom and sprout up and the wildlife just coming into full action. This is the time of year that I've always thought this is perfect for actually the celebration of the new year. And spring has always, for me, even as a small child, spring has always felt like New Year to me. And of course, in the West, we tend to celebrate, well, we do celebrate, we don't tend to, but we celebrate New Year in January. December, the last day of December, first day of January, that night, New Year's Eve. And that has always kind of seemed strange to me because, I know, the dead of winter, it's a perfect time for going out and getting drunk, sure, but not really the perfect time for going out and celebrating a new year, a new birth, a new life. And for that, I mean, spring has always just seemed to be the perfect time of year. So that's what I'm doing here with this broadcast, celebrating the spring equinox, wishing everybody a happy equinox, and in my own way saying, Happy New Year! Today is the first day of the rest of your life, and that's what the message here is going to be about. Today we're going to talk about a Huna principle that I was first made aware of in the book Urban Shaman by Serge Kahili King. It's an old book. I think he published this back in the 1970s, and I first became aware of it about 10 years ago. Excuse me, 1990? I thought he was a 70s guy. Oh, well. Anyway, it's a good book. And he talks about shamanism from a Hawaiian perspective, and he focuses on what he calls Huna principles. And the one I'm going to focus on today is the principle of energy flows where attention goes. And we're going to get more into that right after I play a little song. This one by Yuri Liamkins, Breath of Spring. And we'll be right back getting into the Huna principle, energy flows where attention goes, and what that can mean in our day-to-day lives. Stay tuned.
Why am I feeling Should I find better things to do or fall asleep? It feels like a breath of spring. Maybe you know I mean it's waiting for something. Hey, it should not be played a fool. Oh yeah, I really need you. Here is the night, but it will be a day. All the clouds will fly away. To you now I say, hey. I wanna be in love with you. I wanna be in love with you, and I'll never feel so blue. Well, it's never too late to mend, or just to lend a hand. It's never too late to love. It feels like a breath of spring. Maybe you know I mean it's wonderwall. Hey, it should not play the fool. Oh yeah, I really need you. Here is the night, but it will be a day. All the clouds will fly away. To you now I'd say, hey. I wanna be in love with you. I wanna be in love with you, and I'll never feel so blue.
All right, well, that time I remembered to mute my mic so I could drink coffee without slurping sounds being broadcast over the airwaves. But that was Yuri Liamkin's Breath of Spring, and I have another one of his coming up later on in the program. And yeah, we are focusing on new life, new beginnings, celebration of the season of spring. And I think in that mood, in that attitude, in that frame of mind, I like to announce some changes that we've made here at Temple of the Infinite Universe and Hermetic Temple Radio. One change that I will mention at this time is we have changed our website. We used to be hosted at www.hermetictemple.com, and I think that web link is still functioning, but we are letting that go. It was a server that just a hosting service, I guess I should say, that was just costing us more money than what it was worth. And we were getting in a few donations, but really not enough through that website to justify keeping it going. It was like costing us close to $200 a year, and it, for what we were getting, it just was no longer doing the job we needed it to do. So we've let that go. And instead, we are now being hosted. We now for a website we have a WordPress blog, and that can be found at www.hermetictemple.org. And thinking this through, I preferred the .org to the .com because, like we had it, hermetictemple.com made it sound more like a business, and I realize that even spiritual programs, spiritual fellowships, you've got to run it like a business, or else you can find yourself out in the street. So yeah, I understand the business aspect of everything, but we're really not a business. We are a spiritual temple, a spiritual fellowship focusing on Hermetic principles and wisdom in all forms. And so the .com thing, it just really, it no longer made sense to me. It made sense to me a few years ago when we first started building these websites, because I didn't know the difference at that time between .com and .org. But no, right now we have gone to the .org domain wording, because we are an organization. We're not a business. And yeah, sometimes I have to make uncomfortable business decisions based on money and income and expenses and all that, like I had to do a few days ago when we decided to let the old website go. But first and foremost, we are an ecumenical, interfaith, spiritual temple based upon Hermetic principles, non-sectarian, non-denominational principles, and wisdom in all forms. We feel that wisdom is a gift to all of humanity, not just the Catholics, not just the Protestants, not just the Christians, not just the Jews, not just the Muslims, not just the Shriners. It's a gift to all of humanity, including the atheists and the agnostics and just the day-to-day folks trying to get through their lives without placing labels on themselves. And in that spirit, we operate our interfaith temple. Temple of the infinite universe. And it's open to all. If you hear these podcasts and you like what you hear and you would like to become a part of our temple, you can do that. Right now, our website is just coming under construction. I started building that a couple days ago, and one thing that came to mind is I suddenly remembered why I quit doing WordPress blogs 5 years ago. Because my skills at HTML codes were not very good at that time. And over the last 5 years, I've forgotten quite a bit. But it's a good format if you know how to code, and I'm relearning that. And so our new website at WordPress is being built up again. It's still in it's just beginning stages. But if you want to check that out right now, you'll just find a donate button. But that again is at www.hermetictemple.org, and that, like a great many things around here at Temple of the Infinite Universe, will be taking shape as the days go on. And so, with that out of the way, I think that's about the only announcement I wanted to make at this time. But wanted to go on with kind of a springtime, New Year type show. And the theme of it, the spiritual theme of our show, is the Huna principle. Energy flows where attention goes. Now, that kind of rhymes, and that may attract your attention just because it rhymes. I know that's probably the reason Serge Kahili King chose to communicate that principle in that way. It rhymes, it's easy to remember, uh, and I first heard about that 10 years ago, was able to write it down from memory after having set the book aside but for about 5 years. Able to write it down from memory because of that rhyme sequence. Energy flows where attention goes. But then, as with every spiritual principle, we have to get beyond the rhyming sequence and get beyond what it sounds like and how it makes our ears feel, and just ask ourselves the question, what the hell does this mean? And that's what we're going to focus on. What the hell does that mean? Energy flows where attention goes. And what it means to me is what you focus on in life grows. And I think that's a truth that's been stated more or less in those words by Wayne Dyer and other folks. What you focus on in life grows. And a great many spiritual traditions have a similar saying, and that's because there is a universal truth to this. We can think of stories, we can even look at instances within our own life in which we tend to focus on negative things. And in the world we live in, surely there are a lot of negative things to focus on. Sometimes it feels like we're being bombarded by negativity in the press, in the media, on social media. What kind of brought this to mind is last night on Twitter. I follow a lot of parody accounts, and I follow some serious accounts too. But sometimes when you're reading things on Twitter, it's easy to become confused and not realize, okay, what is intended as parody and what is intended as being serious. And I read a post by someone that I thought it was a parody account. And somebody that was posting something very negative, like, what was it? I'm too young to be this depressed. And I noticed it had a lot of likes. And I thought, well, surely this is a parody account. I read the name and thought, yeah, this guy's just being funny. So I posted a reply to that, a little meditation, guided meditation video from YouTube on it called well, I can't really say it on this program, but it's a humorous look at meditation. And so I posted that saying, well, maybe this will help, and put a little smiley face there, thinking that he was just being funny. And I was being funny right back, kind of hopefully in a helpful way, but just not thinking that this guy could be serious. And then I clicked on, after I replied to that, I thought better of it, and I went back and I checked out his full Twitter page, and it was just, gosh, negativity. Negative comment after negative comment after negative comment. It was just a whole wall focusing on stuff like, I am too young to be this depressed. And it just suddenly hit me that this guy wasn't trying to be funny. This was probably a guy that was being relatively serious about his life and his feelings, that life sucks. And that was his entire focus. My life sucks. Now we can think of that Huna principle. Energy flows where attention goes. If you're focusing on the suckiness of life, because that is a truth. We live in a corrupt, might as well say fallen world, an illusory world, but It's real enough, nonetheless. And there are aspects of this world that really suck. But when you devote your entire Twitter page or Facebook page or your entire life on how life sucks, what are you going to be growing within your life? Are you going to be reaping positive benefits, or are you going to be increasing the amplitude at which life sucks? You're just going to be focusing on the negative and growing the negative. There's a scripture verse: what you sow, so shall you reap. And when you sow seeds of despair, that's what you can hope to achieve in your life, will be crops of despair. But when you sow the seeds of new life and new hope and new beginnings, and try to see the positive things in life, and try to focus on the positive things in life, then, not immediately, but one day, you can hope to see crops of hope growing up instead of crops of despair. Life can be thought of as a double-edged sword. There are the good things in life that we like to celebrate, like Equinox, new life, flowers coming up in the driveway. Isn't that neat? Wildflowers just coming everywhere, and deer coming to eat the wildflowers. It's here in the country. It's a beautiful time of the year, and we can choose to focus on that, or we can just focus on the negativity, the negative aspect in life. And if we choose to focus only on the negative, we need to be aware that in doing so, we are doing harm to ourselves, and we are also doing harm to other people. I'm going to illustrate this with an example from Twitter, and again from last night. There was a delightful young lady that I follow on Twitter, and she likes to play hashtag games and is always putting, positive remarks up on her Twitter page, and sometimes she gets a little negative because she gets attacked, and she gets attacked by negative people. And last night she posted a rather lengthy post on Twitter. Well, lengthy for Twitter. But just saying that she'd been away from Twitter for a while because the format had just become so negative, and it was affecting her. She liked to focus on the positive things in life, on love, on building a new world, rather than just bitching and moaning and griping about the world as it is. She was a person that wanted to dedicate her life and her energy to new growth, new hope, building rather than destroying. And she just, in her post on Twitter, said that this format has just become so negative. I had to step away, and she really didn't indicate, when she might be coming back. But she did definitely indicate that she's cut her Twitter time down quite a bit because of all the negativity that has been broadcast on Twitter. And I can understand where she's coming from, because when I click on a cute little hashtag game, like, I don't know, Beatles a movie or something like that, something that's meant to be fun, lighthearted, and just a break from the seriousness and the negativity of life. Even when you click on those fun little hashtag games, you'll get some idiots from both the left wing and the right wing talking about, trashing the other political party. And when it comes to politics, I mean, I used to be left wing. I still am left wing. I used to be a Democrat. Now I'm an independent. And this is going to be my little negativity here. But when it comes to either supporting Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton, I think they both suck. I think Hillary Clinton is the reason we got Donald Trump. And, okay, there I go. Off on a negative rant. See how easy this is. And somebody listening out there can say, you're a Jill Stein person. You're the reason we got Donald Trump. And we can just throw accusation after accusation, and people can back their arguments. And it all started by talking about a funny little hashtag game. And unfortunately, that is the world of Twitter as it currently exists. And when we focus on this negativity, we allow that negativity to grow. Energy flows where attention goes. And you notice, okay, just a few minutes ago, I was focusing my energy on Donald Trump and on Hillary Clinton, and how I thought they both sucked, and I could feel my blood pressure raising by a few points. But immediately, when I became mindful of where I was focusing, and where I was focusing that energy, I could shift that energy away from Donald Trump, away from Hillary Clinton, and go right back to the flowers in the front lawn, and I can feel my blood pressure drop by a few points. This is a choice. We can choose to argue endlessly on Twitter and on Facebook about politics, who was right, who was wrong, who upheld the revolution, who betrayed the revolution. And we can focus on that without solving any problems. You see, that's the other truth that we need to be made aware of. People have been focusing a lot of energy on whether Donald Trump is the better candidate or was the better candidate and is the better president, or Hillary Clinton, whether she was the better candidate and whether or not she would have made a better president than Donald Trump. To me, the answer to that last question is obviously yes, but there are some Trump people out there who would disagree. But with all this arguing about, okay, Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton, GOP, DNC, MOUSE, whether you're Republican or Democrat, which side is best, in all that time, Flint, Michigan, the city of Flint, Michigan, has been without drinkable water since, what is the year? Was it 2014? I mean, for the last 2 or 3 years, I think it is. The city of Flint, Michigan has been without safe drinking water. That's the city, if you remember, has lead in their public water supply, lead in the drinking water, lead which is toxic to the brain development of young children, lead that is toxic to adults. And this situation has not been addressed. I mean, not fully. Not by the Democrats, not by the Republicans. Both Democrats and Republicans have let the city of Flint, Michigan down. And instead of focusing on, partisan politics, we need to come together as Americans. And that doesn't mean you have to put a little American flag by your name on Twitter. We need to come together as Americans and solve these problems of poisoned drinking water in our cities, crumbling roads and bridges throughout our country. Instead of focusing on spending billions of dollars or maybe even trillions of dollars building roads and putting more money into weapons of mass destruction that any sane person prays we will never use, we need to start focusing on life, our common life as Americans, taking care of one another, and seeing to it that before we build, okay, this can be my negative rant, my last one, a goddamned wall, we need to make sure that our children have safe drinking water to drink without having to go to the store and pay $1 a bottle for that drinking water. We need to focus on the things of life, not upon the things of death. We have the world's strongest military, and yet we cannot afford to feed our own people, to provide adequate drinking water to our own children, to provide health care. We need to put the focus on where the focus needs to be. And the partisan politics of our day have done just the opposite. They've got us focusing on, trivia. And meanwhile, the things that should matter most to us are being ignored, both by our politicians, by our press, by the media, by social media. And that's because we have forgotten that Huna principle. Energy flows where attention goes. And we need to ask ourselves the question, each and every one of us, because we are all free human beings, we can focus our attention wherever we please. And so you have to take responsibility as a free human being. Where do you want your energy to flow? Where do you want to focus your attention? I don't care what Donald Trump wants. I don't care what Hillary Clinton wants. I don't care what Facebook wants me to be obsessing about. I have to ask the question, what do I, as a free, spiritual human being, choose to focus on this day, this moment of the day? And do I want to focus on how the universe sucks? Or do I want to focus on the universe being acceptable and focus on the positive things that I can do to make the universe and this world a better place, less sucky place to live in? I'm going to take a break, play a song, and I'll be right back after this.
Like a summer's day, you questioned life and lost your faith. You needed to believe in something that your eyes had never seen. And now you found that you can't find the answers to the questions that you had in mind. It's like a dial tone, no one's on the line, and now you're feeling so alone. Is the universe acceptable in your mind? Is the universe acceptable in your mind? Is the universe acceptable in your mind? Or do you need to see an explanation for the mystery? Trust your heart, it knows the way. In yourself, you need some faith. Don't listen to the crowd. No one's got this whole thing figured out. acceptable in your mind? Or do you need to see an explanation for the mystery? How many bright suns shine upon the lucky ones who wander? How far have we come? And will we go before we're done? Yeah, the hardest thing it seems to me is letting go of all beliefs. Is the universe acceptable in your mind? Is the universe acceptable in your mind? Is the universe acceptable in your mind? Or do you need to see an explanation for the mystery?
Okay, so once again, I'm going to return to that rhyming phrase, energy flows where attention goes. And of course, what does it mean? Now, some people in the New Age community and people, with a similar mindset as the New Age group would probably interpret that as meaning that, you have a choice between focusing on the light and the dark. And instead of focusing on the darkness in the world, you should focus only on the light and only on the love, and just be talking about love and not talking about the negativity that's around us. And that sounds attractive, I think, in the beginning when you're first hearing that, because love is a nice thing. Love is a beautiful thing. Love bombing feels good when somebody is love bombing us, just saying, I love you, you love me, we're a great big family, and there's a purple dinosaur dancing around. It feels good, it feels nice, it feels happy. And love is nice, love is happy. Love is, love is a good thing. And it's good to feel good. But we have to also remember that we have to keep a balance. And, if you've been alive on this planet for any length of time, you know that there is a double truth when it comes to love. Sometimes love feels good. It feels happy. It feels light. It feels like, a field full of flowers and butterflies and dancing purple dinosaurs. And other times, though, love stinks, to quote the Jay Giles band from a few years ago. These are both truths. Sometimes love feels good. Sometimes love stinks. Sometimes love hurts. And we have to keep balance in everything. Yes, there are positive things in the world that deserve our attention. Positive things in the world that, we need to focus on if we want these things to grow. And there are also negative things in the world too. Negative things that if we ignore, our ignorance of this negativity will not do any good. It'll be like burying our head in the sand and just ignoring the stormtroopers as they're marching through our streets, hoping that everything is going to turn out nice and pretty and beautiful in the end. We should focus on the positive, yes. We should focus on building rather than tearing down, for the most part. But we also have to realize a balance has to be maintained. Sometimes, before you can build, you first have to demolish. I mean, it's an unpleasant truth. As a boy growing up in Kansas City, I saw a lot of old brick buildings that had been built years and years before, built to last for centuries. These old brick buildings that were being demolished so that a new complex could be built in the middle of Kansas City. And in a way, it was sad. It was very sad, actually, to see a lot of these old buildings, historic buildings, being demolished so that a new complex could be built. But I mean, going back to Kansas City today, years after this complex has been built, I mean, you can see the improvement. You can see what they built. But before they could build that complex, they first had to demolish. And that is a truth. We have to keep a balance. I say that we need to focus on building, but sometimes before we can build, we have to destroy. We have to demolish. We have to tear down. And as balanced individuals, as balanced spiritual beings, we cannot afford to focus on either the darkness or the light and think ourselves to be in balance. See, a lot of people spiritually, they've been trained from childhood to focus on the light and to demonize the darkness. And then there are other folks from other spiritual traditions that focus on the darkness and demonize the light. And both of these perspectives are off balance. As human beings, as spiritual beings, we are not simply light, nor are we simply darkness. And if we spend time focusing on the light, glorifying the light, and demonizing the darkness, we are unhealthy. We are off balance. We need to accept that we have a combination of light and dark energies flowing within us. And we can't ignore the darkness and focus on the light, or focus on the darkness and ignore the light. We have to maintain an honest balance between the two and say, yes, as a human being, as a spiritual being, I am capable of great good. I am capable of great beauty. But it is also a truth that as a human being, I am also capable of great evil, at least what the world calls evil. I am capable of ugliness. Life is not always a field full of flowers. Sometimes there's a drought. Sometimes there's a forest fire. Sometimes there's a desert that we have to cross. Life is a balance, a yin and a yang balance between the positive, or at least the things we deem to call positive, and the things that we deem to call negative. And if we are to be free, if we are to be balanced, we have to find that balance within ourselves. Not just deny the things we don't want to see and glorify the things that we would like to project into the outer world, but to take time, to take inventory, to look at ourselves honestly and see the good that is within, to see the evil that is within, and to bring it all into balance. To put this in Star Wars terminology, as Yoda would say, bring balance to the Force we must. Because we have the darkness and the light, and if you look at it from another perspective, the darkness is just energy. Energy that can be used either for good or for bad. And the light, too, is energy. Energy that can be used either for the good or for the bad, and there is a time and a place for both. A time to build, a time to destroy, as the old book says. And we have to find that balance. That requires honesty. It requires self-work. But once we find that balance, we have the power to live in a crazy world without going crazy ourselves. Unless you choose for a few minutes to go crazy, like I did earlier in this broadcast. But you also have the power to focus your attention on where you want to be and move away from craziness and despair right back to hope. The universe is acceptable. The universe is mental. And with our mind energy, we have the power to create our world the way that we would like to have it created. But so many times, we allow other people to draw our focus off, draw our focus away from the things that we would like to focus on, and away from the things that it would be more profitable and useful for our attention to be focused on. And instead they draw us off into side arguments that really, when you take the time to analyze them, really don't deserve that much of our attention. And yet, if we're not careful, we can fixate our attention on things that really shouldn't matter that much and turn them into huge, colossal issues. And that's not to say we don't have huge, colossal issues to focus on in this world. But it is saying be careful on what you choose to focus on. Because with our focus directed properly, we have the power to build a beautiful world for everyone. We also have the power to destroy what beauty we have left in this world. There are important issues to focus on. And I'm not going to tell you what those issues are. I think as a free, mature spiritual being, you know. And so what I'm saying is follow your inner light. Find a balance between the light and the darkness within. Because after all, this is Equinox, a day of balance, an equal time length of darkness and an equal time length of light. This is the day of balance. We see beauty in the night, we see beauty in the day, and on this day of Equinox, we have a balance externally in nature of both. On this day, let us focus on bringing that balance into our hearts and into our lives within our inner world. It's all a choice. What are you going to choose to do? This is Fred Ralph. I'm going to sign off now, and going to play another song here by Yuri Liamkins, this one called Summer Rain. And if you'd like to check us out, again, on the internet, we are rebuilding our website. We can now be found at www.hermetictemple.org. And I'm going to practice saying that so I don't make a slip in future broadcasts. And until we meet again, wish you all a beautiful day of Equinox and encourage you all to find the balance within. Blessings.
Oh, don't you see, baby, the time when you away, It makes me feel so lonely. So what else can I say? Touch me gently, my dear, like only you can do. I wanna just stay here for a long, long time with you. Summer rain, here comes the summer rain, washing out your sorrow. Summer rain, warm and tender. You know in my life, baby, you are my special prize. There'll be no dark around me, for you have lamp eyes. And touch me gently, my dear, like only you can do. I wanna just stay here for a long, long time with you. Summer rain, here comes the summer rain, washing out your sorrow. Summer rain, warm and tender. Something like that.